I just spent hours today diving deep into ElevenLabs financials and growth strategy, and what I discovered completely contradicts what most VCs are saying about AI companies. As someone juggling a full-time job, building my own startup, and also trying to grow this YouTube channel, I was fascinated by how they hit $100 million in annual revenue, that's yearly recurring income, in just 3 years. Here's why that's so unusual. Most business advice tells you to pick one lane. Either build something that goes viral with regular people like TikTok or Instagram, or build something expensive that you sell to big corporations like Salesforce or Microsoft. You can't do both, they say. So I spent today analyzing their entire journey from two Polish friends frustrated with moving Dublin to a $3 billion company that's now serves 60% of Fortune 500 companies. That's the biggest corporations in America. If you're building anything right now while working another job, this is going to show you a completely different path to scale. But what I didn't anticipate was discovering their hybrid model that nobody talks about. It's not product-led, it's not sales-led. It's actually something way more sophisticated. So let me walk you through exactly what I found. Here is what first caught my attention about ElevenLabs when I dove in today. Most AI companies, I realize, follow predictable patterns. They either go full consumer viral or they immediately pivot to enterprise. But ElevenLabs numbers didn't add up to either strategy. They hit $25 million in annual recurring revenue, that's predictable yearly income, by end of 2023. Then they jumped to $90 million by November 2024. That's 260% growth in 11 months. But here's what caught my attention. They are somehow serving both individual creative or content creators and the biggest corporations in America at the same time. Three things about their approach didn't add up when I started digging in. And first, I'd say the customer acquisition cost. That's like how much they spend to get each new customer. And that is only $50. To put that in perspective, most business software companies spend hundreds or even thousands to acquire each customer. The second thing is they have a 40x lifetime value to customer acquisition cost ratio. In simple terms, it means that for every $50 they spend to get a customer, that customer brings them $2,000 over their lifetime with the company. That's incredibly profitable. And third, they are pulling this off while keeping 75% of every dollar they make as profit after covering their basic costs. And as someone currently building my own startup, I needed to understand how they are doing this. Because most advice tells you to pick a lane. But here's where it gets really interesting. The founders, Matty and Parity, weren't trying to build a typical SaaS company. They were solving a personal problem they've had since childhood: terrible dubbing in Polish movies. So here's where the story, it gets really exciting. They wanted to solve terrible movie dubbing. You know, when foreign films are translated and the voices sound robotic and emotionless. I think I came across one of such videos recently. They wanted to hear actors speak Polish with the same emotion and energy as the original English performance. This personal connection to the problem shaped everything that came after. Instead of building for a market segment they researched, they focused on building something for a frustration they've lived with all these years. What I found in today's analysis was their 4-pillar strategy that creates what I'm calling a hybrid growth engine. Let me break it down and take each pillar and explain why it matters. So let's start with pillar 1. Pillar 1 is ruthless product quality. While their competitors rush to launch and grab market share, ElevenLabs spent extra months perfecting how realistic their AI voices sounded. Marty, the CEO, said the number one priority was making sure voices were as good as possible. This wasn't just perfectionism, it was strategy. When you are the new player competing against Google and Amazon, your only advantage is being significantly better, not just slightly better. Pillar 2 is deep research foundation. Here's something most people don't realize. Instead of taking existing tools and tweaking them, which is what most startups or AI startups do to save time and money, they built their entire AI system from scratch. Think of it like this. Most companies buy a car engine and modify it to build their car. But ElevenLabs built their own engine from individual parts before they assembled a car on top of it. This takes way longer and costs more upfront, but it means they understand every piece and can innovate faster than anyone else. Pillar number 3, perfect market timing. They launched their first beta version. A beta version is that early test version in January 2023, right as ChatGPT exploded and everyone suddenly cared about AI. But timing alone doesn't create 100 million in yearly revenue. Great execution does. Pillar number 4, the hybrid model nobody talks about. Here is a breakthrough I discovered today. And this is where it gets really interesting for anyone building their own business. They don't run one growth strategy. They run two completely separate growth engines at the same time. Engine number 1 is their product-led growth. This means that the product sells itself. They offer a free version that lets you create 10,000 characters of AI voice per month, and users can sign up, try it immediately, and upgrade when they need more. No sales calls, no demos, just a great product that speaks for itself. Engine number 2, enterprise sales. So simultaneously, they have a dedicated sales team that reaches out to big corporations, offer custom solutions, and provides white glove service that's premium hands-on support. These deals are worth tens of thousands per year. But the real insight came when I realized these aren't competing strategies. They are reinforcing each other. Viral creator adoption creates some sort of social proof for enterprise deals. Enterprise customers then provide revenue stability for research and development investment. Then more research and development create better products for creators. So it's some sort of a flywheel. As someone currently building both a startup and also growing this channel, I've been thinking that you have to choose from one of these strategies. So you identify a growth strategy and you stick to it. But ElevenLabs proves that you can actually run both or even multiple strategies if you structure it right. But here's what really surprised me when I dug deeper. Their competitive advantage isn't just having better technology. No, it's what I discovered is a 4-layer defense system they've created that makes them really hard to compete with. Layer 1 is their proprietary AI models, the technology they own that competitors can't easily copy. Layer 2 is network effect from their 2.4 million users. The more people use it, the better the technology gets, which attracts even more users. Then layer 3 is ecosystem switching cost. So once you've built your workflow around their tools, it's painful and expensive to switch to a competitor. And layer 4 is community brand loyalty. They've built such a strong relationship with creators that people actively advocate for them. This explains something that puzzled me at first. Why haven't Google, Amazon, or Microsoft crashed them? Like, these tech giants have unlimited resources and existing AI technology, but what they are missing is the community-first approach that ElevenLabs mastered. So here is what I'm taking away from ElevenLabs journey, and honestly, it's making me rethink how I approach building while juggling everything else. And this is where you need to really pay attention if you are also building something. So the hybrid thing that they have created actually makes sense for us who are building stuff. I used to think the hybrid approach was only for well-funded companies, but looking at the ElevenLabs story, I realized it might actually be perfect for people like us building on the side. We are not under any form of investor pressure to pick a lane immediately. So why don't we try as many strategies or lanes or as many growth strategies as possible and see how we merge them together or marry them together to aid us in our growth. Think about it. When you are working nights and weekends, you can actually test multiple approaches. Maybe you're building a budgeting app. You could share money saving tips on TikTok while also reaching out to small businesses about expense management. The social content will build trust for the business outreach, because the businesses or some people in the business, if they are looking for you, they would find that you've been consistently creating content on a topic, and that established the trust for you. And the business conversations that you have with them will also give you content ideas, and you begin to create that flywheel for yourself. The personal problem thing hits different. Like, this really got to me. ElevenLabs didn't do market research. They solved their childhood frustration with bad moving dabbing. As someone always overthinking what to build, this is liberating. What annoys you every Tuesday at work, or that weird workflow that makes no sense when you think about it? That might be your $1 billion idea. And I'm starting to think we usually overcomplicate this. So instead of analyzing markets, maybe we should just fix the stuff that personally drives us crazy. So think about that. Then the quality over speed when time is scarce. Here's where it becomes counterintuitive. Like, ElevenLabs took extra time for quality when everyone else was rushing. When you only have a few hours each week, this actually makes more sense. Those 3 hours are better spent doing something obviously better than making something that barely works. Big companies can outspend us, but you know what? They can't outcare us about the details that matter when the thing is a personal frustration to us. Then building community now feels less scary. I always thought community building meant having thousands of followers immediately, but ElevenLabs just focus on helping creators solve real problems. Even if you are helping, say, just 5 people in a Discord server, a WhatsApp group, or answering questions on Reddit, that's community building. That insight, or the insight that's taken with me, is this: ElevenLabs didn't choose between approaches, they designed them to work together. And maybe our constraint of limited time isn't a disadvantage. Maybe it forces us to be more thoughtful about how everything connects. So that completely different part to skill that I mentioned, it's designing two or multiple approaches that reinforce each other instead of choosing just one. I'm honestly excited to try some of this stuff out, and I hope you are as well, and you're going to put this into practice. Like, starting with personal frustrations instead of market research. What's bugging me that might bug others? These are the kind of questions that we need to start asking. So thinking about dual engines early, even if it's at a small scale level. We, like, in my case, for instance, beginning to think, how could sharing my building journey create opportunities for business conversations? So whether it is with building this YouTube channel or with building my startup, how can sharing this information or the journey help in acquiring business customers or B2B customers? Then using time constraints as a quality advantage. So spending those limited weekend hours making something noticeably better rather than rushing to lunch. I'm curious, what's your biggest challenge building while working full time? Are you feeling stuck choosing between different approaches or struggling with where to focus your limited time? Let me know in the comments because I think we might all be overthinking this. Tomorrow, I'm diving into another company. So if you are figuring this stuff out alongside me, go ahead and hit subscribe and also turn on your notification in order not to miss the next one. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Until then, bye bye for now.